Namaskaram and hello again. I'm Arjun. Call me Justin, whichever you prefer. Before I get into it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like it, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. It helps me out, trying to help other people out. Hopefully this resonates. I am an perfectly imperfect human being. So I'm not a saint or someone that just knows better than everybody else, but I have lived a lot of life that many people, it takes lifetimes probably to live. So I do have some wisdom here and there, and I am a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, so that should help, right? Um, Anyways, so today we are on red flag number 8, and I'm gonna go with communication skills. All right, communication skills, if they're good, aces, all right, you're doing great. Your partner, your friend, your whatever, doing great. You don't need to watch this probably. But if you're watching it, chances are you, the other party, or both y'all are not communicating well. And why I bring up this as a red flag, though, is because if you're noticing from the beginning that whether it's a friend, a lover, husband, wife, you're co-parenting with your ex, business partner, whatever it is, colleague, okay? If you're noticing poor communication skills, that's generally not, it's not going to lead to a good outcome, right? Communication is so important, and these days, y'all, I know some of you don't want to hear this, but there's a lot of finger pointing, blame shifting, a lot of people who are in denial, in delusional denial, and they've splintered up into tribalism and identity politics. We're seeing, and especially ever since 2020, when this allegedly zombie apocalypse virus started making its way out there, and then there were the mandates, jab or job, and then there were socio-political divisions. It's gone downhill big time. So we're seeing everything from the macro level, like whether it's global, national, your community level, familial, all the way down to individual partnerships, interpersonal connections. And I can't tell you, especially when I was doing a lot of telehealth over lockdown period, wow, the amount of divorces and breakup rates skyrocketed. I mean, you look at statistics, there were a lot of behavioral crisis visits to the ER, ED. And, we just saw people a lot of it was, if you're not able to do your normal routine and you're cooped up inside, either by yourself or whatever your living situation is with your, partner and kids, what have you not, a lot of y'all fell apart because you didn't have that support routine in place, that regimen that was keeping you on the straight and narrow, or on a much straighter and narrower path. And then y'all were confronted with things internally and then externally, because a lot of people had a hard time coping and confronting. And I can't tell you, that's when that whole pandemic period really did a number on everybody's holistic health. I will talk about my whole stance on the couve, and I think y'all kind of know where I'm going, what side of the fence I'm on with that. Especially jab or job, I can't, that was vile stuff right there. That was really vile. Totally unnecessary too. So, But I think you all get where I'm going with that. What was funny though, not really, is so many people and like my superiors and colleagues didn't want to even have a academic conversation or debate about all those issues, whether it was the coup stuff or the socio-political stuff, because that made its way in real quick into how I practice medicine and mental health care, how everybody did. You were either on this side of the fence or you were some isterphobe. Yeah, super healthy. But nobody wanted to have a talk, and said they just labeled you something and boop, get out of our company, get out of our organization, get out of our, church, temple, whatever. Get out of our community, breakups, divorces. I mean, it was insane. And what's funny is a lot of y'all just kind of like forgot that. Like, oh, it was a tough period, but whatever. And it's like, no, like I will not forget that stuff, and no one else should either, because there's a lot of healing that needs to be done, and that's something that is very problematic with, especially America, is that it has a shorter history compared to a lot of other parts of the world, as like the United States of America. I'm not talking about pre-colonial era. Okay, like, yes, indigenous people here were here for tens of thousands of years at least. Okay. So yeah, I mean, there's a short period for the United States of America, and we've been the fastest developing in all aspects, in all areas. We've been the fastest developing nation. I'm not talking about like just industrial and technological and stuff like that. We've just go, 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 go. And we've been through so much, and we have not really like just sat down to talk and resolve issues, because there's a whole lot of missed opportunities for closure in this country. And it's starting to affect everybody down to the micro level. So now, in the past, like 5 to 10 years, it's gotten so bad globally, especially since 2020, that I don't think people really know how to communicate anymore. It seems somewhat of like maybe a tangential sidebar, but it really isn't. Because I mean, I've experienced it. Either, a lot of people. I mean, I lost 90% of my professional and personal circle, colleagues and friends, family. They disowned me because they didn't want to have a conversation. They've known me for years or my whole life, and boop, out the door you go, Arjun. Excuse me. And even like other like more intimate or close interpersonal connections for me, like I either wasn't communicating well, or the other person wasn't, and it just, when both people are not communicating well, usually doesn't lead to a good outcome. You keep on, either people try to run away from it too quickly, and then they just put it, out of sight, out of mind, can't deal with it. Or they, just white knuckle it and just death grip. I gotta keep this together. I gotta try to resolve it. And then you just, suffocate each other. So I think everybody needs to take a moment. All right. Just, all right, there at GG257FL, calm down. It's okay. Calm down. In through the nose. Hold it a little bit and exhale out through the mouth. Reground yourself, okay? And then give yourself some grace, and give other people grace too. And then remember what I said in a previous episode. Remember where you guys started out. Hopefully it's out of a place of respect, care, adoration, love. Remind each other of that from that cool, calm, collected space. And if that person, you can't expect it maybe right away, but if like few days, a week or two later, they're still just digging their heels in and like mad at you and don't want to communicate like a healthy adult, show them the door. Show them, or you exit stage left, just go. Right? And let them figure it out. I know it's hard, but if anything, and it's really disheartening, it's really disappointing, but I've learned both professionally and personally, sometimes you can't help people and they got to go figure it out on their own, right? Someone once told me that long time ago, many years ago, that Justin, you're the kind of person that someone can tell you something all day and you can recognize or acknowledge its validity, but it doesn't truly like click until, or resonate until you make it your own. So it's almost kind of like from deep within the psyche or in the heart, it's got to come forth and be like, yeah, this is why it makes sense to you. You have to form a personal connection with it. And I think for a lot of people, more and more, that's the case. I know it's hard if you're in this very super committed relationship, marriage, you have kids, a house, all that. Like, it is not easy just to be like, okay, well, and I'm not saying you have to go straight to a divorce or anything, but you might need some separation, okay? You might need to do that. You might need to go to couples therapy. You might need to go to workshops. You might need to go take a trip. You might need to involve family and friends to help mediate some of your conversations, okay? I mean, especially you want to get people that are like truly on both your sides, right? Like you don't want a one-sided person that's just defending the other person or yourself. Like, you want people that truly love and respect you as a unit and as individuals. Some people think that might be inappropriate. I do not. Like, our society's become way too individualistic, and there's no sense of community and family, and yeah, like, the loyalty is gone. And again, loyalty doesn't mean you just bend the knee and okay, whatever you want. No, it's loyalty is something that you freely give, willingly and happily give to somebody else. It's your time, attention, care, respect, probably love, okay? And then you're getting that back as well, and you're putting that into the connection, right? It's like this glue that keeps you guys healthy, hopefully, and together. So, but back to, communication, is that I'm seeing it break down more and more and more. And I'll even go as far as, on an individual level, it's breaking down internally. Like, people do not want to communicate between the different archetypes or the different parts of their psyche. They really don't. They just want to avoid it, and they want to, like, everything's fine, everything's okay, everything's fine, everything's okay. I'm going to go out and have fun. I'm going to pretend that this distraction is really what's going to be like soul nurturing, right? I'm going to portray myself on social media the way not only I want other people to see me, but I want to believe that I am. And I think we all do that. Different situations, we act a little differently. Like, I swear a lot more than I do in these videos. And I would say, like, I'm more passionate, like, even towards, like, like, not on a, like, everyday, hour to hour basis, but like, I put like a, tinge more, like, I don't want to say like anger necessarily, but just more of that kind of passion. So I tamper that down a little bit, or tamp it down a little bit, and just temper myself. But working on communication, word choice. So I'm seeing it there. Like, people do not want to have internal dialogues. If they read something on social media or through a support group or some article, or podcast or YouTube video or something, and they're like, oh yeah, that must be it. Okay, they're done introspecting and reflecting and processing, and they just run with it rather than really letting it sit and digest and figure out for yourself, does this resonate with my intuition? Because that intuition in you, that's your higher self, and that higher self, so personally for me, I believe that is connected to the divine, to God or the gods. And if you don't believe in that, I still hope that you believe in something greater than yourself, right? Another reason why we have problems communicating with each other is because everybody sees themselves as the center of the universe. I think that's, probably been around since we've had this higher sentient consciousness. But it's gotten really problematic, especially with the advent of social media and, our technology. It's gotten really bad, really to an unhealthy level. And we really don't try to step outside of ourselves and look at the, bird's eye view of what's going on and all the people that are involved in a certain situation or given time or location, and how we're acting and behaving, what we're saying, what we're doing is maybe affecting other people. I'm not saying don't care about yourself. You need to care about yourself. You need to have self-respect, self-love. You need to grow, heal, all that. But it's gotten to a very selfish point for many people. So they don't know how to communicate with each other. They don't know how to communicate with themselves. So some examples, I don't want to go terribly long with this video, but some examples that are really unhealthy. Like if you notice this early on, you want to backpedal a little bit. Make sure that your boundaries are being respected and not being really poked and prodded too much. So early on, if they're just kind of aloof, I'm saying once you have established, some sort of connection, we're friends, we've hung out, we're jazzed to see each other, or it's romantic or whatever, but then they start becoming really aloof and their personality, their behaviors kind of start to change. There's always the settling in period and the honeymoon period that wanes off. But if they're ghosting you a lot, or stonewalling you worse, that's not a good sign. And yeah, maybe they have stuff going on in their life and whatnot, but it's just in this day and age, what is really unhealthy in my opinion is somebody saw your text. There's a lot of the read receipt indicators, that they saw it, read it, whatever. But even not even just that, there's the preview that will pop up on most phones. So you don't even have to open up the message. You can read it in a preview mode. So, and if this person uses their phone a lot in other other venues or locations or situations where you just see that they're on their phone a lot, BS that they didn't see it and that they didn't have even 10 seconds to reply hey, busy right now, I'll get right back to you. Because people it's they're the Flash with their freaking thumbs. It's BS that someone says, oh, I just, I'm so busy I didn't see it, or, I didn't have time to reply. For some people that may be true. They might have jobs where they can't even have their phone with them. It's even a security thing. And people that make excuses, well, I was working, I have kids. Granted, that is true, right? Those are priorities. But if you know that they're responding to other people or they're making posts online and or liking posts and stuff like that while they're at work, give me a break. See, that is scapegoating, that is deflecting, that is blame shifting. It is, they're ghosting you. They're no, I don't really want to respond to you. That says they don't see you as a priority, not enough to respond. And like, for me, if I'm able to have my phone and I have a second, like, and I'm not causing any harm or damage to the company I work for, or if it's my company or my patients or whatever, my clients, and there's like a breather, right? Like, I will respond to your message if I see it. If I'm truly busy, like, then, and I even opened it up, because sometimes that happens too to people. You open it up and you get, sidetracked, or someone pulls you into something. That does happen. I'm saying when you start to notice this on a consistent basis, right? And then if you even tell that person too, like, hey, I'm just responding. I know you're at work, or I know you're with your kids, or I know you're doing whatever. You don't have to respond. I'm just responding because I have the time right now, and I saw your message, so I'm going to reply. If you preface that, like, you don't have to respond right away, but the person still gets mad at you for sending all these texts. Like, if they respond and then you respond again, it's not your responsibility for you to make sure that they're managing their time well when they're busy. Hey, I told you I was busy. Why do you keep responding? When you've already told them, hey, listen, I'm going to respond if I have the chance, because maybe I'll get sidetracked and I won't later, or I'm in the moment and it's like, it's fresh on my mind, or tip of my tongue. But you don't have to respond, but they still get mad at you. Friend, I don't think they like you very much. And even if they've got crap going on and they're just having a hard time in life and confused, that still says that they don't respect you. Not lately, or not for a certain amount of time, a period of time that they just don't see you as a priority. They don't really like you or respect you. So again, pay attention to reality and not their potential, or not what was in the past. So when this reality starts to become you're noticing like your boundaries are being pushed on or crossed, you feel disrespected, you feel like you're not being a priority, they're communicating very poorly or not at all, ghosting and stonewalling, I really encourage you to step back, reground yourself, introspect, reflect, try to connect with your intuition and your higher self, and then examine, is this interpersonal connection worth it right now? Like, to be committed in this fashion? Do I just need to pull back and be like, no, I don't like this. It's making me very uncomfortable. I feel disrespected. This person is communicating a lot more with this other person than they are with me, their supposed, love of their life, or husband, wife, or best friend, or, whatever, the 50-50 business partners. And so if you're noticing like you're feeling really disrespected and uncomfortable, address it. But if they still insist like they're not the problem, or you're the problem, or making excuses, or just not communicating well, I think you might want to consider exit stage left, or show them to the door, help them with their bags. All right. And then let them figure it out. Let them realize how they messed up. Let them do some healing. And if they come back around and you're ready to, reconcile or have them back in your life, wonderful. Great. All right. But if not, you got to respect yourself and you respect your boundaries, and they'll have to as well. Okay. So I just want y'all to, actually, I'll give one more example of poor communication too, is like, if they love bomb you, like, blah, 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 I just love you. Oh, this is so great. Oh, you're going to be such a good influence in my life, or, my friends' lives, or, my kids' lives, or whatever. And then they start doing all these unhealthy red flags. Fly away. You're free. Run away. Go save yourself. Seriously, because that's not going to end well. It won't. Okay, so yes, you can get passionate, especially with the closest people in your life, but you want to be able to have a moment where one or both of you say, hey, I think we need to pause, go do something on our own to help us de-escalate, reground ourselves, either a few minutes, few hours, or, you know, reconvene tomorrow or whatever. And everybody respects that, right? And then you reconvene and you try again, right? That's healthier communication. And in the future, I'll go over, you know, some communication tips, you know, healthier ways of communicating, especially with examples of like, if such and such scenario happens between two people with such a temperament, or such an attachment style, you might want to consider trying this. Okay. But that's a very big discussion. So when I have a more professional setup and whatnot, and editing is better, sound and all that's better, I will get to that. But yeah, for now, I just wanted to go over the red flags, right? Why don't you all leave a comment on what you think is an unhealthy communication style? That would help me out too, like cover it in the future maybe. And I know I'm missing quite a bit. I know all of you probably have some good examples out there. As always, I wish you the best on your journeys. I truly do. All of you, right? Like, even if we don't like each other or we're enemies or frenemies or whatever, I still honestly wish you the best on your journeys and true healing and true joy. And that's not, you know, living it up, you know, and faking it till you make it. You know, that's really finding your higher self, right? And connecting with that, right? And trying to grow and heal. And joy is simply like, you're going to accept all the bad and all the good and everything in between, the cool, the weird, the ugly, everything. And you're going to handle that equally. So you're not just going to be dependent on the fun, exciting, you know, erotic times, right? You're going to realize that the bad times are there for a reason, and they teach you a lesson, and they offer opportunities of growth. And so that is true joy, when you can look at all of it equally and be like, I'm not just this body and not just this mind. And this isn't the end. This reality isn't just the end. There's something bigger than myself and beyond this. Okay? And that's hard to do. I'm not perfect at it. Far from it, friends. Far from it. Far from it. So anyways, I hope you all have a great day. Tomorrow, I'm going to do my top 10 red flags. So I have 2 more to go. I'm going to save the one that people really like to throw out there quite a bit. It does exist for sure. I'm going to save that to the end. So you'll see me tomorrow. I wish you all the best. I truly do. Take care till then.